You are not here by accident, and you are not listening to this because an algorithm guessed correctly. You are here because something deep inside you is tired of being unseen. You know this feeling intimately. You wake up, check your phone, watch other people announce milestones, promotions, engagements, breakthroughs. Then you step into another ordinary day where you give your best and receive silence in return. At work, you carry responsibility that no one officially acknowledges. In your family, you are the dependable one. In conversations, you are the listener, the absorber, the strong one. And by the time night comes, exhaustion settles in not just in your body, but in your soul. This is a very specific pain being present, useful, faithful, yet overlooked. Not dramatic loneliness, but the quiet erosion that happens when effort goes unnoticed for too long. You show up early, you stay late, you do what you said you would do. You pray prayers that feel like they echo back unanswered. And slowly, almost without realizing it, you stop expecting to be seen. You stop believing your consistency matters. That is not because you are weak. It is because you have endured. Many of you learned how to survive without affirmation. You learned how to keep moving even when nobody says thank you. You learned how to smile while feeling invisible. But let me ask you something directly, without softening it. When did you decide that being unseen by people meant being unseen by God? There is a dangerous lie hidden in long seasons of silence. The lie says, if it mattered, someone would notice. But some of the most important work in the world happens without witnesses. Foundations are poured underground. Roots grow in darkness. The strongest muscles are built when no one is watching. If your life feels hidden right now, it does not mean you are forgotten. It means you are protected from being handled before you are ready. Think of a child in class who keeps raising their hand. At first, they're eager. Then they wait. Then they stop raising it, not because they don't know the answer, but because discouragement taught them to expect nothing. Some of you have lowered your hand in life. You stopped volunteering your heart. You stopped dreaming out loud. You stopped expecting your name to be called. Not because you lack ability, but because disappointment trained you to stay quiet. Yet heaven does not confuse quiet with absence. Silence is not emptiness. There are seasons when God watches more than he speaks. Not because he is distant, but because he is attentive. While you were wondering if anyone noticed your restraint, your patience, your faithfulness, everything was being recorded. Hope here is not vague or poetic. Hope looks like this: a moment when you realize you don't need to beg to be valued anymore. A day when an opportunity finds you instead of you chasing it. A conversation that shifts everything without effort. A door opening that feels so precise it could only be intentional. These moments don't come randomly. They come when your inner posture has changed, when you no longer collapse under attention, but can stand upright in it. You may feel like your life has been a long hallway with no signs on the walls. Same routine, same effort, same silence, but hallways exist to lead somewhere. And just because you can't see the door yet doesn't mean it isn't there. Something has been forming in you during this unseen stretch: endurance without bitterness, humility without insecurity, strength without noise. The truth is, you were never overlooked. You were observed closely. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 139, verse 1. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me, not glanced at, not briefly noticed. Searched, known, fully, in your tired mornings, in your unspoken questions, in the nights when you wondered if staying faithful was worth it. You were known there, completely. This changes how you carry yourself. Because when you know you are seen by God, you stop shrinking in rooms that ignore you. You stop explaining yourself to people who lack the capacity to understand you. You stop measuring your worth by response and start measuring it by calling. This message is not here to rush you. It is here to wake you up gently but firmly. You were not overlooked. You were being prepared to stand without needing approval. That kind of strength does not break when recognition finally comes. If this resonates with you, take a moment now, like the video. Share it with someone who feels invisible. Leave a comment so others know they are not alone. And subscribe to stay connected. These are small actions, but they signal that you are choosing awareness over numbness. And before this moment passes, I ask you for one simple response, not many words. In the comments, write the number 77. Let it be your quiet declaration that even after long silence, you still believe you are seen. Carry this truth with you into the ordinary moments today. Let it steady your breathing, straighten your posture, and remind you that your unseen faithfulness still carries weight in heaven. You are walking forward marked, known, and quietly supported. Even when nothing around you changes immediately, something within you already has, and that change will soon become visible. You became strong because you had no other option. Not the kind of strength people celebrate or post about, but the kind that forms quietly when help does not arrive. You learned how to stay upright while carrying weight that was never evenly distributed. When others leaned, you steadied yourself. When others broke, you adjusted and kept moving. Over time, strength stopped feeling like a gift and started feeling like a responsibility you could never set down. This pain is very specific. It shows up when you are the one everyone calls during emergencies, but no one checks on when life is calm. It shows up when people compliment you for being so strong, not realizing that strength became necessary because support was missing. You became the dependable one, the emotionally steady one, the problem solver. And little by little, your own needs learned to wait behind everyone else's. Picture a normal night. You're sitting alone, lights dim. Phone turned face down so no one sees the tiredness in your replies. You've already told everyone else that things will work out. You've reassured, encouraged, stabilized. Now it's just you, running through numbers, decisions, consequences. You don't fall apart. You don't dramatize. You just absorb it. And still, a quiet question slips through your discipline. Who takes care of me when I stop holding everything together? People misunderstand strength like yours. They assume you don't need rest because you don't collapse. They assume you don't need comfort because you don't ask. They assume you don't feel deeply because you don't complain. But your strength was never the absence of emotion. It was self-control forged under pressure. You felt everything. You simply refused to let it destroy you. There is a cost to that. When strength becomes your identity, vulnerability starts to feel unsafe. Asking for help feels foreign. Depending on someone else feels risky. So you tell yourself, I've handled worse. And you're not wrong. But just because you can survive alone doesn't mean you were meant to. Some of you became strong too early. Before you were supported, before you were protected, before you were allowed to be soft. And that premature strength shaped you, but it also isolated you. Not because God wanted you alone, but because certain people would have mishandled your tenderness. If they benefited from your strength, they might have exploited your openness. So you learned endurance first. Here is the sharper truth: some people leaned on you without honoring the cost. They drew from your stability without noticing your fatigue. They assumed you would always be okay because you always had been. And you allowed it not because you were naive, but because compassion outweighed self-preservation. That does not make you weak. It makes you uncommon. But even uncommon structures require relief. Muscles that never relax eventually tear. Minds that never rest grow numb. Spirits that never exhale lose joy. Some of you are not tired from effort, you are tired from constant readiness. Always braced. Always alert. Always the one who holds it together. So let me ask you plainly, what do you think would happen if you stopped being the strong one for a moment? That fear tells the story. It reveals how much you've been carrying and how long you've been carrying it. And it also proves something important. Things have been standing because you stood in the gap. Your strength mattered. It was not invisible. But strength was never meant to be permanent strain. Even pillars are designed to distribute weight, not absorb it endlessly. God did not create you to be unbreakable. He created you to be supported. What you learned in survival was endurance. What you are learning now is trust. Hope begins to look practical here. It looks like a conversation where you don't solve anything, a moment where you admit you don't have the answer, a future where your worth is not measured by how much you can endure, but by who you are when you are allowed to rest. These are not failures. They are signs of transition. You were strong because you had no choice then. But you are not meant to live forever in crisis posture. The season that demanded constant resilience is shifting not because you failed, but because you endured without losing yourself. You made it through without becoming bitter, careless, or cold. That is a quiet victory. The world applauds visible success. Heaven honors unseen endurance. The nights you stayed calm when panic would have been easier. The words you swallowed to keep peace. The emotions you regulated so others wouldn't worry. None of that evaporated. It formed depth. The Apostle Paul reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That verse does not glorify collapse. It redefines strength. Power is not proven by never needing help. Power is revealed when you allow support to meet you at your limit. Weakness here does not mean failure, it means honesty. It means you stop pretending you were meant to do everything alone. This does not erase what you survived, it reframes it. The strength you built will remain, but it will stop costing you your peace. You will learn when to stand firm and when to lean, when to carry others and when to let yourself be carried. That discernment is maturity, not retreat. You are not losing your strength. You are learning how to hold it without bleeding. And that is how survival slowly transforms into wisdom. There is a particular kind of disappointment that doesn't explode, it settles. It comes from the door that almost opened, the opportunity you prepared for, the plan you prayed over, the moment you thought, this is it, only to watch it quietly close without explanation. No dramatic failure. No clear reason, just a polite ending and a long silence afterward. That pain lingers because it never fully resolves. It keeps asking questions long after the moment has passed. This section speaks to that very ordinary wound, the thing you lost that still visits your thoughts. The job you didn't get even though you were qualified. The relationship that ended just as you let your guard down. The move you planned that fell apart at the last minute. You replay it sometimes, not because you're stuck in the past, but because part of you still wonders what went wrong. You don't resent God, you just don't understand Him there. Picture this scene: you're cleaning out old emails or photos late one night, and you pause. There it is, proof of a version of life that almost happened. For a second, your chest tightens. You imagine who you might have been if that door had opened. And then you close the app, sit back, and carry on. But the question stays. Why did it stop there? We're taught to move on quickly, to reframe disappointment immediately. But some losses require time not because you're weak, but because they mattered. You invested effort, hope, and courage. And when something meaningful doesn't come to pass, it can quietly erode trust, not loudly, just enough to make you more cautious next time. Here is the truth that's difficult to accept while you're still close to the memory: not every closed door is rejection. Some are redirection. Others are restraint. And some are protection from a future you could not yet survive. Timing is not just about readiness, it's about safety. You don't give a child keys to a highway vehicle. No matter how eager they are to drive, that door didn't close because you weren't capable. It closed because the cost would have been higher than you could see. You were spared environments that would have demanded you shrink, compromise, or constantly defend your worth. You were shielded from attachments that would have drained you instead of growing you. And yes, it still hurt. Protection often does. Let me ask you something honestly: if that door had opened, would you have been free or just busy? Sometimes what looks like promotion is actually entrapment wearing a better title. Sometimes what feels like loss is space being cleared for something that fits you better. Hope here is concrete. Hope looks like realizing that your life did not stall, it rerouted. It looks like discovering skills you never would have developed if things had gone according to your original plan. It looks like emotional maturity you gained precisely because you had to sit with disappointment instead of escaping it. That door taught you discernment. It taught you patience. It taught you how to survive unanswered questions without losing faith. There is also something else that happens when a door closes unexpectedly. It reveals what you trusted more: outcomes or guidance. This is not condemnation. It's awareness. Trust deepens not when everything works, but when you keep walking without clear direction. That kind of trust is quieter, sturdier, and harder to shake. The Bible does not avoid stories of delayed or redirected paths. We are reminded through the writings of Solomon in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9. In their hearts, humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Notice the language. Planning is human, establishing is divine. You are allowed to plan. You are allowed to hope. But the final architecture of your life is shaped by a perspective wider than yours. One that sees not only the door, but what waits behind it. You didn't miss your moment. You missed a version that wasn't meant to last. What is meant for you will not require you to betray yourself to keep it. It will meet you where you are becoming, not where you were desperate. Now, before moving forward, there is something I want you to do, not as noise, but as intention. In the comments, write this short phrase: I trust forward. It's only 3 words. Simple. But here is why it matters. You are not saying you understand everything. You are not pretending the loss didn't hurt. You are declaring that your trust is not tied to the past reopening, but to the future unfolding. You are choosing direction over regret. Let that be your marker. A quiet line in the sand between what didn't happen and what still can. When you write, I trust forward, you are not denying the pain of what closed behind you. You are choosing not to live facing a locked door. You are turning your body, your thoughts, and your expectations toward what is still forming ahead, even without full clarity. That phrase means you stop asking the past to explain itself before you move on. You accept that understanding may come later or not at all, and you decide that your next steps will be guided by faith, not by unfinished explanations. This choice releases you from replaying old outcomes and trains your focus on what is still possible. It gives your heart permission to expect again without fear, trusting that what unfolds next will be wiser, safer, and more aligned than what closed before. The story of the prodigal son does not begin with punishment. It begins with movement. While the son is still far off, rehearsing apologies, calculating consequences, the father is already running. Before explanations are given, before excuses are offered, before the dust of failure is shaken off, there is a celebration being prepared. The robe is ready. The ring is waiting. The table is set. The music starts before the speech is finished. The joy does not wait for perfection. That detail matters more than we often realize, because many of you live as if celebration only happens after everything is explained. You believe restoration comes after you justify the delay, the mistakes, the long quiet seasons. But heaven often moves differently. Sometimes the celebration begins while you are still confused, still catching your breath, still wondering how you arrived here. This section is for the people who feel like nothing has been happening. Not dramatic failure, not visible success, just routine. Wake up, go to work, handle responsibilities, come home. Repeat. You've been faithful in small things, but it feels like your life is stuck on the same page. You wonder if you missed your moment, or if everyone else is moving forward while you're standing still. Think of an ordinary day. You're doing something repetitive, washing dishes, folding laundry, sitting in traffic, no announcement, no sign, just motion without meaning. And yet, what you don't see is that while you are moving through routine, something else is moving toward you. Heaven is not idle during your ordinary days. The celebration may already be planned, even if you haven't received the invitation yet. The prodigal son didn't know a feast was waiting. He expected a lecture. He prepared to beg for a lesser position, and many of you are doing the same in your spirit. You've lowered your expectations. You've told yourself, I'll just survive. I'll just manage. I won't hope too much. Not because you lack faith, but because disappointment taught you to be cautious. But here is the truth that shifts everything. Restoration is not always loud at first. Sometimes it begins quietly, behind the scenes, in ways you can't yet measure, like bread rising in the dark, like a stage being built before the audience enters, like invitations being sent while you're still at home thinking nothing has changed. Let me bring this into daily life. Imagine someone throwing you a surprise celebration. While you're convinced it's just another normal day, people are preparing food, setting chairs, arranging lights. Your absence from the room does not stop the preparation. Your lack of awareness does not cancel the event. In the same way, your current routine does not mean nothing is happening. It means something is being prepared without requiring your supervision. This is where many people lose heart. They mistake silence for inactivity. They assume delay means denial. They confuse stillness with stagnation. But the unseen season is often the busiest one. Heaven rearranges quietly. Doors are aligned without noise. Timing is adjusted with precision, not haste. Ask yourself this directly. What if the celebration has already started, just not where you can see it yet? What if conversations are happening about you in rooms you haven't entered? What if doors are opening that require no force from you? What if your name is already on a list you didn't know existed? Hope here becomes tangible. Hope looks like waking up with steadier breath. It looks like small confirmations, unexpected peace, subtle clarity, strength returning without explanation. It looks like realizing you're no longer chasing, no longer striving, but simply walking forward with trust. These are not accidents. They are signals. There is another detail in the prodigal son story we overlook. The father does not interrogate. He restores first. Identity before explanation, belonging before performance. This matters because many of you feel you must prove yourselves again. You think you have to earn momentum, earn joy, earn recognition. But heaven restores identity before it assigns responsibility. You are not waiting for permission to matter. You already matter. The delay was not punishment. It was alignment of conditions you couldn't control. And while you were focused on surviving the ordinary, something extraordinary was being arranged. We see this heart clearly as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 24. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. Notice the tense, alive again, found, not will be, already happening. Celebration language is present tense, even though the journey was long. Heaven speaks in completion while you are still catching up. This reframes your life. You stop interpreting quiet days as wasted time. You stop assuming nothing is happening just because nothing is announced. You start trusting that preparation does not require your anxiety. And slowly, the pressure lifts. If this message is helping you see your season differently, take a moment like this message. Share it with someone who feels stuck in routine, and subscribe to stay connected. These are not empty gestures. They help this encouragement reach those who need it quietly. Like you once did, metaphors help us grasp what logic resists. Think of a seed under soil. To the surface, nothing changes for weeks. But underground, everything is happening. Roots form, structure develops, strength is built in darkness. When growth finally breaks the surface, it looks sudden, but it wasn't. It was prepared. Your life is not on pause, it is underground. Another image, a train moving through a tunnel. The lights disappear, signals fade, but the destination has not changed. The tunnel is part of the route, not a mistaken direction. If you judge progress only by what you can see, you will misinterpret where you are. So let me ask you one last grounding question in this section. What if this ordinary season is proof that something extraordinary is close? Not because you forced it, not because you demanded it, but because timing matured quietly. The celebration does not wait for your full understanding. It waits for your arrival. And when it comes, it will not ask you to explain the past before it welcomes you forward. There comes a moment when effort quietly turns into interference. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started hovering over something that was already steady. This section is for the person who keeps adjusting, rechecking, rephrasing, rethinking long after God has already put things in order. You don't do it out of defiance, you do it out of fear. Fear that if you relax your grip, everything might slide out of place. The everyday pain here is very real, living in constant correction mode. You correct your tone so no one misunderstands you. You correct your schedule so no one is disappointed. You correct your decisions so you don't regret them later. From the outside, it looks like wisdom. From the inside, it feels like tension that never fully leaves your shoulders. Picture a familiar situation. You finally make a decision about a job, a boundary, a relationship, a next step. At first, there's calm. Then a few hours later, doubt creeps in. You replay it. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You wonder if you should soften it, delay it, explain it again. Nothing has gone wrong, yet you feel compelled to adjust. That urge doesn't come from discernment. It comes from a history where stability never lasted long. Stop adjusting what God already aligned is not abstract advice. It's daily discipline. Alignment means the structure is sound. Continual adjustment after alignment usually weakens the structure instead of strengthening it. Like tightening a screw that's already secure, you don't make it safer. You strip it. Many of you learn to adjust because unpredictability trained you to stay alert. In the past, calm was followed by chaos. So your nervous system learned to stay busy even when there's no threat. You anticipate collapse. You prepare for disappointment before it arrives. You keep your hands on things that don't require your constant touch. Let me ask you something directly. What are you still tweaking because you're afraid peace won't last? That answer exposes where trust is being invited and where fear keeps interrupting it. Here are grounded, practical indicators to help you recognize when adjustment has crossed into interference. First, notice the source of the urge. If the desire to change something comes with restlessness, racing thoughts, or urgency, pause. Alignment carries steadiness. Anxiety carries haste. Don't let panic revise decisions that were made in clarity. Second, allow outcomes to breathe. When you make a choice and immediately rush to manage how others will react, you rob the decision of its own strength. Let responses unfold without preemptive explanations. What is aligned does not need excessive defense. Third, respect consistency. If something has been stable for a while emotionally, relationally, practically stop bracing for impact. Stability can feel suspicious when chaos was familiar, but unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. Sometimes calm feels wrong only because you're no longer used to it. Fourth, stop reopening what you closed with intention. If you set a boundary after prayer, reflection, and honesty, don't renegotiate it just because guilt shows up. Guilt is not always conviction. Often, it's the echo of old patterns losing access. Fifth, reduce mental noise. Alignment thrives in simplicity. Too many inputs distort direction. Fewer opinions, fewer hypothetical scenarios, fewer what-ifs. Stillness is not avoidance, it is discernment refined. This is not about doing nothing. It's about doing what is necessary, then stepping back. There is a difference between care and control. Care nurtures, control constricts. One trusts growth, the other fears it. Hope here looks very ordinary. Hope looks like sending a message and not rereading it. It looks like making a plan and not second-guessing it the next morning. It looks like leaving space in your day without filling it with worry. These are small acts, but they retrain your spirit to trust stability again. There is a reason Scripture addresses this impulse so gently but firmly. As the Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Notice who completes the work, not you. You participate, but you do not micromanage what God initiates. If He began it, He sustains it. Your constant adjustment suggests you believe completion depends on your vigilance. This verse releases you from that burden. Some of you are exhausted not because life is demanding, but because you won't stop hovering over it. You keep revisiting decisions God already confirmed. You keep rearranging structures that were already balanced. And the invitation now is simple, but uncomfortable. Let things stand. Before we move on, I want you to mark this moment. In the comments, write the number 818. Here is why this number fits the theme. 8 represents renewal, not restarting from anxiety, but continuing with trust. 1 represents focus, choosing one direction instead of many corrections. 8 again reminds you that what God sustains does not collapse when you rest. This is not superstition. It is a signal to yourself that you are choosing trust over interference. From here forward, you don't need to keep adjusting what heaven already set straight. There is a shift that happens when you realize you cannot keep living like you did before. Not because life became easier, but because you changed. This section is about that moment when you step into a crowned identity, not a visible crown, not applause, but an internal authority that alters how you move through the world. You don't announce it, you embody it. The pain here is subtle but heavy, outgrowing familiar spaces. You walk into rooms that once felt safe and suddenly feel restricted. Conversations that used to energize you now feel shallow. Expectations people place on you no longer fit, but removing them feels disloyal. You are not arrogant. You are not ungrateful. You are simply no longer who you used to be. Picture a normal situation. You're with people you've known for years. They expect the old version of you, the one who over-explained, over-gave, over-accommodated. You notice yourself pausing before responding. You don't rush to fix everything. You don't shrink to keep the peace. And for a moment, the silence feels uncomfortable. Not because you're wrong, but because your posture has changed. This is what happens when you begin to wear authority with humility. Authority does not raise its voice. It doesn't scramble for approval. It doesn't explain itself repeatedly. It stands calmly, knowing who it is responsible to and who it is not. A crown, in spiritual terms, is weight, responsibility, and clarity. It changes how you walk because you become aware of what rests on your head. You move more intentionally. You choose words more carefully. You stop entertaining chaos because it disrupts focus. This is not distance, it is discernment. Many people misunderstand this phase. They will say you've changed, as if that's a flaw. They will miss the version of you that was easier to access, easier to influence. Some may even resist the boundaries you now carry naturally. But growth often creates friction, not because you're wrong, but because systems adjust when someone refuses to remain small. Let me ask you something honestly. Are you resisting this shift because you don't want to disappoint people who only knew the unprotected version of you? That question matters, because staying familiar can cost you the very authority you prayed for. Hope here is steady and grounded. Hope looks like realizing you no longer need to convince anyone of your worth. It looks like choosing quality over quantity in relationships. It looks like understanding that separation is sometimes evidence of calling, not punishment. There is an everyday example that captures this well. Think of a manager who was once a peer. The dynamic changes. They don't stop caring, but they stop participating in everything. Not because they think they're better, but because responsibility requires a different posture. Familiarity must be balanced with leadership. That adjustment can feel lonely, but it is necessary. Stepping into a crowned identity means you stop reacting and start responding. You don't absorb every emotion in the room. You don't rush to prove your value. You don't overextend yourself to be accepted. You understand that your presence alone sets a tone. That kind of influence is quiet but powerful. This is also the phase where temptation returns, not as chaos, but as comfort. Old patterns call you back. Old environments invite you to relax your standards just this once, but you sense it immediately. Something inside you knows that going back would cost you forward momentum. You don't judge others for staying, you simply recognize you can't. There is a reason Scripture frames identity this way, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 20, verse 16. So the last will be first, and the first will be last. This is not about status, it's about order. Those who endured quietly, learned patience, and developed depth are often positioned later but lead more wisely. Your season of being overlooked trained you to govern without ego. That is why you can now carry authority without becoming harsh. You may feel moments of grief here, not for who you are becoming, but for what you can no longer be. That grief is valid. You are closing chapters that sustained you once. You are releasing roles that shaped you, but you are not losing yourself. You are refining. A crown does not make life lighter, it makes it clearer. You become selective. You value peace more than proximity. You stop chasing intensity and choose stability. These are signs of maturity, not withdrawal. And here is the quiet reassurance you need. You are not walking this alone. Even when fewer people understand you, you are aligned with a purpose that does not require consensus. You were shaped for this posture gradually, intentionally, and with care. You don't need to prove you deserve the crown. You grew into it. And now, you simply walk as who you have become. This new posture will feel unfamiliar at first, like wearing shoes you've never walked in before. Take steady steps. You are not meant to rush or retreat, only to learn how to move with balance, restraint, and quiet confidence. As you continue forward, notice how less explanation is required and more peace is preserved. That is confirmation. Authority settles in when you stop performing and start standing rooted, composed, and unafraid of being misunderstood. There comes a time when your life no longer needs explanation, only embodiment. This is where everything quietly converges, the unseen endurance, the closed doors, the ordinary days, the restraint you learned, the authority you grew into. All of it now becomes visible, not as spectacle, but as proof. Proof that God still works in lives that refuse to harden. Proof that miracles do not always arrive as lightning, but as restoration that lasts. This section is for the moment when you realize your story is no longer just about you surviving. It's about you standing. You don't announce it. You don't dramatize it. You simply live differently. And people notice not because you told them what you've been through, but because something steady radiates from you. The everyday pain here is surprisingly tender, the fear of being seen after being hidden so long. When you've lived quietly, visibility can feel risky. You know how to survive obscurity. You're not sure how to carry recognition. Not praise, but impact. Because being proof means others will look to you when they're tired, confused, or close to giving up. Picture an ordinary moment. Someone asks you how you're really doing, not casually, genuinely. And for the first time, you don't answer from survival mode. You answer from wholeness. You don't overshare. You don't minimize. You speak calmly, honestly, and you notice their shoulders drop. Your presence gives permission for theirs to rest. That is proof in motion. Living as evidence of God's power does not mean perfection. It means integrity. It means your words match your pace. Your faith matches your decisions. Your peace doesn't disappear when pressure returns. You are not immune to difficulty, but you are no longer ruled by it. There is a responsibility that comes with this. Not heavy, but real. You become a reference point. Someone else looks at your life and realizes, maybe I don't have to give up. Maybe obedience didn't ruin you. Maybe patience didn't waste you. Maybe choosing depth over speed actually led somewhere good. Let me ask you directly. If someone followed your example, would they find hope or just noise? That question is not meant to accuse. It's meant to clarify, because you are no longer just walking for yourself. You are lighting a path without even trying. Hope here is tangible. Hope looks like waking up without dread. It looks like responding instead of reacting. It looks like consistency, not intensity. It looks like your nervous system finally believing that peace can last. These are not small miracles. They are the kind that sustain generations. This is where the miracle becomes visible, not because circumstances are perfect, but because you are anchored. Storms still come, but they don't rearrange your identity anymore. You've learned where your footing is. Scripture speaks to this kind of life clearly, as Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Notice what shines here, not performance, not self-promotion, light. Light reveals without forcing, it invites without chasing. It stands still and changes the room simply by being present. That is who you are becoming. You are not meant to hoard what you've learned, but neither are you meant to shout it. Light doesn't beg to be noticed. It simply stays on, and those who need it will find their way. This is why sharing matters not as obligation, but as overflow. When you pass this message along, it's like setting an extra chair at the table for someone who's still walking home. When you stay connected, it's like keeping the fire lit so others don't stumble in the dark. When you choose to return, listen. Engage, it's not loyalty to a channel. It's participation in a quiet community of people choosing depth over despair. If this message has met you where you are, then pressing like is like a nod across the room that says, I'm here. If someone you love is tired of pretending they're fine, sharing this is like placing a blanket over their shoulders without asking questions. If you want to keep walking this road with others who value substance over spectacle, subscribing is like choosing to sit near the fire and stay a while. And when you leave a comment, you're not typing into emptiness, you're carving a small testimony into the wall that says, I survived, and I'm still becoming. None of this is forced. None of it is demanded. It is offered the same way grace always is open-handed. You are living proof now, not because you arrived, but because you endured without losing love, because you waited without becoming bitter, because you grew without becoming proud. That combination is rare, and it is powerful. The miracle is not only what God did for you, it is what He preserved within you. And as you walk forward, others will recognize it not in words, but in relief. Your life is the evidence, and heaven is still celebrating you. Carry this awareness gently into the days ahead. Let it shape how you listen, how you pause, how you choose patience over urgency. You don't need to prove anything anymore. Your steadiness will speak where explanations never could, and your quiet consistency will continue opening doors you no longer have to knock on. As time passes, you will notice how your presence itself becomes reassurance to others, not because you have all the answers, but because you embody hope that survived pressure. This is how your story keeps unfolding, not loudly, not suddenly, but faithfully, leaving light in places you may never fully see. As this message comes to a close, nothing is being demanded from you. There is no pressure to respond, no requirement to prove that it mattered. Some words are meant to be shared, others are meant to be kept quietly, like a note folded and placed in a pocket for later. Only you know which this is for you. If something here helped you breathe a little easier, you may feel an impulse to pass it along, not out of obligation, but out of recognition, like seeing someone else standing where you once stood, and leaving a light on without announcing it. Sharing, in that sense, becomes an act of kindness, not promotion. And if nothing here feels ready to be shared, that is just as valid. Some truths arrive not to travel outward, but to settle inward. You may carry a single sentence from this with you, or just a feeling you can't fully name yet. That's enough. Growth doesn't always make noise. You are allowed to walk away from this moment unchanged on the outside, but steadier within. You are allowed to take your time deciding what it means. Faith does not rush clarity. It respects process. Maybe later, in a different season, these words will surface again when you need them most. Or maybe they will simply have served their purpose now, reminding you that you were seen, that your journey mattered, that quiet endurance was not wasted. There is no closing line that ties everything neatly together, because life doesn't work that way. Stories continue whether they are told or not. Meaning unfolds whether it is shared or held close. So take with you whatever stayed, release whatever didn't, and keep walking without urgency, without fear, knowing that even unfinished moments can still carry truth.